Hello my beautiful flowers. As you know, for me, personal style is the combination of your style intention and your visual execution. And in today's video, I'm talking about the second half of the equation, how to use your clothes to actually express the thing you want to express. So let's say you've used my system, you're in the left down quadrant, you've chosen sensual and ease for yourself, and you've also followed the style logic to think about the major mood you want to experience, the big theme, and you've come up with the theme of elegance. Reaching this level of clarity is wonderful because, you know, it just gives you a really clear path forward to building your dream style. But then it's also like, okay, what next? There's a really big gap between this abstract world of concepts and the tangible world of your closet. It's like, how can you actually dress for elegance? What does that mean? And I find that a lot of people go astray here by looking directly to outside definitions. So if you start searching for elegant dressing or how to look elegant, you will immediately be inundated with suggestions for tailored sheath dresses, blazers, structured handbags, things like that, right? And all of this is somebody else's vision of elegance. These suggestions are foreign to you, they're not relevant for your personality or your lifestyle. And the danger, the problem with this is that you can get discouraged and feel like it's your initial desire to dress elegant. That's the problem, that was the mistake, but that's not the problem. So your understanding of your goals, the first part, the vision, is correct. The part you're struggling with is the interpretation of the concept, the execution. So in this video, I'm going to talk about creating the definition that works for you. And we're going to make our own definition. I call this a style dictionary, and it's a resource for defining the concepts like elegant for your own use. I don't mean this as an abstract thing. I mean literally creating a post-it note, an index card, a note in your phone where it says elegant. And then underneath you have a list of all the things that you find elegant. This list should be structured into colors, textures, shapes, patterns, details, and accessories. And when you want to create an outfit, you can look to this list for inspiration on the style elements to incorporate. So for example, for you, elegant might mean beige and neutral colors, soft and flowy wide leg trousers, satin and silk textures, pointy flats, bracelet watches. For another person, elegant might mean like black and white, v-necks or tops that show the clavicle, leather belts, stiff denim, geometric patterns, red lipstick, right? A totally different vision. No two lists are the same because obviously we are all different people. And if you're like, okay, Rita, this sounds great, but how do I start? I'm still stuck in the land of concepts and want to get to specific things. That's exactly the right question. And it also contains the answer, which is that we need to jump directly into specific things. And we want to think actually about clothes that you already have, that already give you that feeling or communicate the concept that you're after, because you're not starting from zero, right? You already know some things you like, so we're gonna start there because that's the best place. So working with elegance as an example, we want to go back and think about something in your closet that feels elegant when you wear it or looks elegant, whatever. So you might think of this flowy black blouse that you've been enjoying a lot lately, and let's stop with that and try to break this blouse down. What about the blouse is elegant? What should we add onto the style dictionary? And it's totally normal at this point if you're like, I don't know, like the whole thing, right? Because it's not supernatural to analyze things this way for most people, but it's also not that complicated, so we're going to work through it and you'll see how doable it is. So if we go to our menu of options, right, the color, the pattern, the texture, the shape, the embellishments, you might be thinking like, oh, everything is elegant, right? Like black, the color is really elegant, there's no pattern, feels really elegant, the satin shiny texture is elegant, the shape that's like flowy but not baggy, the defined neckline, and even the little details like the tiny buttons are elegant. And in that case, it's like, oh my god, this blouse is like literally the representation of elegance. And just from that, you have added so many possibilities to the style dictionary. You've added black, you have added satin shiny texture, you've added flowy but not baggy fit, you've added defined neckline and tiny buttons. And moving forward, when you're getting new clothes, you know, it doesn't need to be all of those things. It could just be a couple of those things. Like you could look for a dress that has this like elegant fit and the tiny buttons, but not necessarily black, not necessarily satin. Or you could look for another blouse with the satin shiny texture and the defined neckline, but maybe in a different color. On the other hand, it might be the case that actually looking at the blouse, you realize like there's only one thing that works for you there. You're like, actually the color is not elegant. I feel it's like more harsh, and this shiny satin feels a bit too formal. But like what I really love when I break it down is the shape, the flowy but not baggy, and this defined neckline. That's elegant. So you just add those two things to the dictionary and you forget the rest. So you like separate out what works from what doesn't. And you can see that in just this one example, breaking down just one thing already really helps you get started defining elegance for you. But we're going to do that a few more times so you could find two more things that convey this desired concept, and then you can analyze them in the same way. And they could be things you have now, they could be things you've worn in the past. It doesn't matter. Like the point is just to get a start on the style dictionary, to identify these colors, these textures, these details that you associate with the concept. But this first step for most people is not enough, because if most of your clothes already express the concept you desire, you would not be struggling to figure out how to express that concept with style, right? That makes sense. So this approach is more useful when you are expanding your wardrobe. Like if sensuality isn't something you've really explored that much, you might have a couple pieces that feel sensual, but what you're really craving are new, more ways to explore sensuality that you haven't tried yet. So that's why we can't just stop here. We have to keep going on to the next step. And in this next step, we're gonna go to the broader external inspiration world to expand the style dictionary further. But this is a step that many people struggle with because you can really get flooded with other people's ideas and lose your own way. Remember, like in the very beginning, I talked about that sheath dress elegance. If you try to search for sensual outfits, you might find just like way too many different flavors of sensuality, and it could feel like you don't have like any idea where to begin. But you know exactly where you can begin, because in step one you already started the style dictionary and you use that as an anchor. So for example, you as a newcomer to sensuality, you might have slinky silhouette and sheer blouse as the only two things on your style dictionary, but these are already great starting points. Like it really is more than enough. So in the next step, what you want to do is take these terms from the style dictionary and search for inspirational images. Your goal is to collect 10 to 15 photos and no more. I want you to use the Pinterest or Google Images and search for like sheer blouse outfit, right? So look for styling that includes the term that you're interested in and really reduce the total number to 10 to 15. It's way too easy to create this board with hundreds of images that leads to overwhelm. By narrowing down to 10 or 15, you force yourself to focus, and you can always just repeat the exercise if you feel like you want to capture some new things. But for now, we have these 10 to 15 photos, and once you have them, the temptation might be like, okay, so I just recreate these outfits, like go. But that's not at all what we are going to do. We are going to analyze the photos in the same way as we analyze the individual items in the first step. Right? So you want to separate out like, oh, what makes this photo cool, or like what makes this person look good, from what feels sensual to me, right? That is the task here. So let's say you find this photo of this sheer blouse with a white bralette underneath. You personally would never wear something like this. It's way too far outside your comfort zone, but like the image really sticks with you. You put it in your top 10. And then, okay, let's analyze it. We don't want to recreate it, but what feels sensual? Well, you already know that the sheer texture is sensual, but what else is it? Is it like the color, the pattern, the shape, the embellishments? And you're like, okay, for me it's the shape. I love how the sleeves cover the whole wrist and the top of the hands. And then we could add long sleeves covering the top of the hands to the style dictionary. And in the future, You know, it doesn't need to be a sheer blouse with the sleeves. It could be like a delicate knit sweater, but the thing that you care about is this part that just feels really yummy to you. Or you might actually like this embellishment of the tie on the front. You're like, okay, I would style it completely differently. You know, I would have like just this like a dark color top, but this bow thing seems really essential. And we could add front tying garments to the dictionary, and it wouldn't need to be a blouse, right? Or a sheer blouse. It could be a cardigan, it could be something else. So just as in step one, we're breaking it down to these individual components. And you could work through these 10 images one by one, or you could just look at them all together and be like, what are the themes I'm seeing here? You know, like, okay, I notice a lot of pale, soft colors. Or, okay, I'm noticing a lot of floral patterns. And you add those things onto the style dictionary. And just remember, like, this list is not set in stone. There is also no right or wrong here. This is a tool for you to continue growing and working with as you learn more and more about your taste. And this way of thinking of taking things and breaking them down into these specific visual components might seem really foreign to you, but it's a really important skill for analyzing and actually getting yourself what you need. So if it does feel new to you, you should definitely watch my video on this visual interest concept, because I go through all the different categories, like the color, the texture, the shape, and that's going to help you use this approach more effectively. So check out the video, and I will see you next time. Bye!